In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to create bar plots for categorical data. I will be using the dataset car data to show this. You can get this data from the Rguroo data repository. For this example, I am going to be creating bar plots for the factor variables of class and type of different cars. To start, go to the Plots toolbox, select Create a Plot, then choose Bar Plot. Once the Bar Plot dialog box shows up, the first thing is to select your dataset. So I am going to go ahead and select the car dataset. We want to go to the Categorical tab, since our goal is to make a bar plot for categorical variables. In this menu, we have the options of selecting two factors, and there are four options that allow us to view our data in different ways. I am going to start by selecting just the first factor, or categorical variable, from the drop-down menu. Note that the categorical variables in the dataset are automatically recognized by Rguroo. I will select the factor class. I will also add value labels to my plot. By adding value labels, we will be able to see the value of the frequencies on top of each bar. The default selection for the type of bar plot is side by side, where bars are arranged beside each other. You can also make a stacked bar plot, which we will go over in a moment. When I click Preview, we see the different levels of the factor class with their frequencies displayed above the bars. Like this bar, for example, shows the number of luxury cars with a frequency of 18. As you can see, we can make comparisons of the frequencies within the levels of the factor. If we wanted to make the bar plot easier on the eye, we can use the factor level editor to order the bar plots from greatest to least. So I will select the factor class and will make sure to put the level of the greatest frequency on top, as the first level represents the leftmost bar. Since the level subcompact has the greatest number of cars, I will drag it to the top, followed by luxury, compact, sport, mid-sized, hatchback, and super mini. The color and label of these bars can also be changed here. If this plot is previewed, we can see a nicer plot with bars in order. We can also make a relative frequency plot by going back to the Basics menu, then selecting Relative Frequency. The plot will then show the relative frequencies of each of the classes to 3 significant digits. Going back to the previous plot, I am now going to add a second factor. I will go to the Basics menu and select the factor type, which is a variable that tells whether a car is domestic or an import. I changed it back to a regular frequency plot just to get easier numbers. When you preview this plot, you can see the number of cars in each class sorted by their type, which is on the x-axis. The legend in the top right-hand corner of the plot allows us to see what color bar belongs to which type of car. For instance, this bar shows us that there are 2 sports cars that are domestic. I can also switch factors 1 and 2 to view the number of domestic or imported cars by their class. If I go ahead and make factor 1 type and factor 2 class, then click Preview, I will now get a bar plot with the levels of the factor class on the x-axis, with the respective frequencies of domestic and imports represented by the blue bars, which are domestic, and orange bars, which are imports. To get a different view of this plot, I can also use the Stacked option in the Basics menu. If I want a stacked bar plot, however, I cannot have value labels checked concurrently, or I will get an error, so I will uncheck that box. After previewing, we see that this plot now shows two bars with different colored sections that represent the different counts of domestic and import cars for each of the classes. A relative frequency plot can be very useful for this stacked function. Selecting relative frequency from the Basics menu will make each stacked bar sum to 1. This shows a different type of stacked plot that can be more useful in comparing the levels of the factors.